Cherokee Nation wants federal law fixed for black tribal citizens. March 31st, 2024. Chuck Hoskins Jr., Principal Chief of the Cherokee Nation, testifies during a U.S. House Rules Committee hearing. One of the nation's largest indigenous tribes is seeking to change a 140-year federal law that governs criminal jurisdiction of tribal citizens on reservations based on blood quantum. Why it matters. The move by the Cherokee Nation comes as the Oklahoma tribe is welcoming the descendants of formerly enslaved black people, once owned by tribal members, as citizens. The big picture. The challenge to the Federal Major Crimes Act also comes as more indigenous tribes assert themselves over issues of sovereignty, political representation, and how they should define who is a tribal member. Zoom in. Cherokee Nation Principal Chief Chuck Hoskins Jr. tells Axios the tribe is asking Congress to revamp the 1885 federal law that focuses on Indian blood, a racial category that many tribes now shun. Federal courts have interpreted that law to require tribal citizens charged in criminal cases on tribal land to have a certain blood quantum to be prosecuted in federal or tribal court instead of state. Hoskins says the law discriminates Cherokee citizens of freeman descent, who may be tried in state court with other non-tribal members, and it needs to be updated for a new reality. Black freemen, or should I say black freed men, are oftentimes the result of African slaves that escaped their plantation and found sovereignty on Native American reservations, oftentimes being adopted into the Native culture. It's about the United States respecting tribal sovereignty and frankly catching up with the Cherokee Nation in terms of equality for all of our citizens, including Cherokee citizens of freeman descent. Background. The Supreme Court ruled in 2020 that a larger portion of eastern Oklahoma falls within an indigenous reservation, preventing state authorities from prosecuting offenses committed by Native Americans on tribal land. But some black tribal members are still being prosecuted because they lack Indian blood, according to New York Times. The Times highlighted a case involving Michael J. Hill, a black citizen of the Cherokee Nation who got into an altercation with law enforcement on tribal land. He sought to have a case dismissed, arguing that as a tribal member in tribal territory, state officials were outside the state's criminal jurisdiction. But the courts ruled that he didn't have enough Indian blood to make the claims. State of play. The Cherokee Nation Supreme Court ruled in 2021 that free men have the right to tribal citizenship, and the tribe soon approved changes to its constitution to include freemen. The Cherokee Nation has around 15,000 enrolled citizens of freeman descent. Yes, but other tribes who once owned black enslaved people are resisting to include freemen as tribal members. Black descendants of enslaved people once owned by members of the Muskogee Creek Nation are seeking full tribal membership in a case that's now backlogged in the court system. Between the lines. The conflict is between the U.S. government struggling to differentiate between race and agreements with sovereign nations. At the end of the day, it is a question of sovereignty. In this instance, we have one nation here that's trying to do it for the right reasons. Chapman said the Cherokee Nation is also trying to confront anti-black racism in indigenous communities and should be commended for it. What's next? Hoskins said the Cherokee Nation and other tribes will step up their lobbying efforts in Congress to make changes to the federal law. He said the tribe is also considering legal changes throughout the federal court system. My name is Mighel Akando, and this is the latest in Native news.